Okay, in this podcast we're going to figure out how to determine the percent composition of elements in a given formula. It's going to be pretty straightforward and you probably could figure it out on your own, but let's just go through a couple. Alright, so let's say I have a problem like I want to know what percentage of gold iodide is gold. That's a typical kind of problem. So let's go back and just take a look. So in order to do this, I'm going to figure out the molar mass for each element, determine the molar mass, formula mass for the compound, and then calculate the percent. So let's take a look. So I write out the formula. Gold, 3 iodide. Iodide is -1. Gold is +3, so I need 3 iodide. That's the formula. I want to determine the mass of each element in the formula. So to do that, I've got 1 gold. Each weighs 196.97 grams per mole. Gives me that much mass attributed to the formula from gold. I have 3 iodine, so that's 3 times each atom weighs 126.9 grams per mole. Each mole weighs that. Gives me that much contributed by iodine. I total this up and I get 577.67 grams. So that's the mass, the formula mass for gold 3 iodide. So in order to figure out the percent that's contributed from gold, all I do is I take the amount from gold and divide it by the total. So gold is 196.97 divided by the total, multiplied times 100, gives me 34.01% gold. Whoops. And the remainder would be my percent. So that's all I'm looking for is percent gold. Let's take a look at another one. We want to determine the percent by composition, a percent composition by mass of each element in the compound aluminum sulfate. Okay, so here's the formula for aluminum sulfate. Aluminum's a +3, sulfate's a -2. I could do my crisscross and I end up with this as my formula. Alright, I've got 2 aluminums, each weighs 26.98 grams per mole, gives me that much contribution from aluminum. I have 3 sulfurs, 1 times 3, 3 times the molar mass, gives me that. I have 12 oxygens, right, 4 times 3, each weighs 16 grams, gives me that total mass contributed by oxygen. I add these all together and I get a formula mass of 34.197 grams per mole. For aluminum, it's going to be its mass divided by the total, which gives me 15.72% aluminum. Do the same thing with sulfur. Its mass is 96.21 grams. Divide it by its total. I get 28.13% sulfur. And of course, I do the remainder with my contribution from oxygen. Divide it by the total, and I get 56.15% oxygen. It's always a good idea to check your work, and the way to do that is you add all of these together, and they should add up to 100, and in fact they do. Now if they add up to 100.01, 02, or 99.9899, that's going to be close enough. Okay, let's do one more. This question is, what is the percent water, or how much water is in zinc sulfate heptahydrate? Okay, so I have 1 zinc, I have 1 sulfur, I have 4 oxygen and 7 waters. Each water is 18.02 grams. So again, I add all this up. This is what the entire formula weighs per mole. And I just take percent water is going to be water's contribution, which is 126.14, divide by the total, multiply by 100 to get it as a percent, and I get 43.86% water. And that's going to